didn't go last night, so I don't know. That's what I said. I understand where Bruce. He lives on 7th. Yeah.
Ms. Bradshaw, have we heard anything from Commissioner Woodruff?
Just checking.
Is he trying to get on?
I'm checking to make sure that he's not stuck in the lobby trying to get on. He's supposed to be online. See him up there at the top?
Yep, I do.
Give him just a minute. He's logging in.
Thank you.
There he is.
Mr. Woodruff, Mr. Goins, can you both hear us and can you both say hello real quick?
Hello, hello. Hello.
Great. You're ready, Chairman Lau.
The Planning Commission is called to order for Thursday, November 4th, 2021. Will you rise with me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
United States of
America,
America.
and to the
To the
republic
republic
for which it
which
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
liberty,
justice for all.
justice. for all.
That was beautiful. Mr. Attorney, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. During this meeting, a designated staff person will run the Zoom aspect of the meeting so each commissioner can focus on the meeting rather than the technology. All Planning Commission members should mute their microphones when they're not speaking, ensure that there's no background noise, and that computer alerts are silenced. Commissioners should keep their cameras on for the duration of the meeting except during announced breaks. When a commissioner wishes to speak via Zoom, they will physically raise their hand and wait for the chair to call on them, then unmute themselves before speaking. Talking over each other will cause excessive delay. If at any time during the meeting a commissioner gets disconnected, the meeting will pause briefly to give them time to return. All matters requiring commission action shall be presented to the Planning Commission by the planning staff and the applicant. In situations where the planning staff is the applicant, there will be only one presentation. Staff will be limited to 5 minutes and shall make the first presentation. The applicant will also be limited to 5 minutes and will give the second presentation. To maintain an orderly meeting, all presentations shall proceed without interruption unless the commission desires to intervene with questions or comments. The chair will open the public hearing for those physically present wishing to speak about an item. Those in favor of an item shall be heard first, followed by those opposed. A 10-minute time will be allowed for public comment in favor. A 10-minute time will be allowed for public comment in opposition. When the public hearing opens, a staff member will track the 10-minute time periods. Who's our time tracker tonight? Thank you, Mr. Satterfield. The staff member will raise their hand at the 5-minute mark. the 1-minute mark and verbally call time when it expires. All groups, organizations, neighborhoods, or similar associations desiring to comment are asked to appoint one spokesperson to present their concerns or point of view to the commission on each agenda item. The public has been encouraged to submit their comments in writing via a web-based form. All comments received prior to 3 p.m. today were forwarded unedited to the members of the Planning Commission. The public comment form can be found on the Planning Commission website, and all comments received will be delivered to all members of the Planning Commission and City Council. All comments received will be made available to the public if requested. If additional time remains from the 2 initial 10-minute public comment periods, the chair, in their discretion, may read some or all submitted written comments. Time for reading submitted comments will be limited to any remaining balance for comments in support or in opposition of an item. In addition, or in alternative, the chair, at their discretion, may give a summary of the number of comments in favor, against, and neutral to an item. Unless otherwise instructed by the chair, all votes will be roll call votes. After proper motions are made and consistency statements read into the record, the chair will call each member by name, and each member should clearly state their vote, aye or nay, one at a time. After votes are cast, the chair will state the outcome of the vote and the action. This process requires extra patience and extra time. The chair should be prepared to frequently restate comments and questions and ask for a green light to move on. Rezoning requests that receive an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission may be appealed by the applicant to the Wilmington City Council. Appeal should be in the form of a letter submitted to the city clerk within 10 days of this hearing. Appeals for all items heard tonight will be heard at the first City Council meeting in January of 2022. All right, Commissioners, the minutes were in your packet. You've had a chance to review those. Do you have any amendments to the minutes? Any changes, questions? What? You have the microphone? There's a little button on the front.
On page 4, 7th paragraph, there's Commissioner Lennon made the motion and Commissioner Lennon seconded it.
Commissioner Sharp, we can't hear you, I'm sorry. You'll have to speak into the microphone.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So on page 4, paragraph 7, it says Mr. Lennon made a motion, and then on the last page, the motion was seconded by Mr. Lennon. I don't remember who did it, but you didn't do both. Okay.
I'll make a note of that change and find out who made either the first or the second motion and make the change accordingly before publishing.
Thank you.
Thank you, good catch.
With that one correction, I move that the minutes be approved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we are going to do a voice vote on the minutes. Approved. Commissioner Sharp has moved that they are approved as changed. And Commissioner Cortez has seconded it. And we'll have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The minutes are approved. All right, for our new business, we have a request that item number 2 is moved to the beginning of our new business agenda as there is a continuance being requested. So is that, is Mr. Mahoney doing that or the applicant? He's not here.
The applicant is here to make that request.
Great. Ms. Williams, come on up. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've never been here.
You just
Yes.
speak into just say your name and address into the microphone for the record and state your request.
Okay, I'm Dottie Williams, and I'm requesting 1840 Burnett Boulevard, a continuance until January while I pursue a conditional rezoning.
Okay. And the January meeting is, what's the date on that?
Madam Chair, you can just say the January meeting's fine for purposes right now. Y'all will be voting on the calendar soon, but
That's
it'll be
right.
the regular January meeting, which should be the first Wednesday.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion?
Move to continue item number 2 to the January meeting.
Commissioner Lennon has moved to continue item number 2, the general rezoning, to a date certain of January, once we approve our calendar. We have a second?
Second.
And we'll do the roll call vote for this one. Commissioner Bowman?
Bowman, aye.
Commissioner Cortez?
Aye.
Commissioner Goins?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Lyle? Aye. Commissioner Sharp?
Aye.
And Commissioner Woodruff?
Aye.
Item number 2 is continued to our January meeting. Thanks for being here, Ms. Williams. Okay, under new business item number 1, Commissioner Lennon has asked for a recusal. Can we get a motion to recuse Commissioner Lennon?
I move to excuse, what was I saying?
Recuse.
Commissioner Lennon from agenda item 1.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sharp, second. And we'll do a voice vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Commissioner Lennon is recused, and he will stay in the gallery with us and rejoin us after this item is complete. Item number 1 is a conditional district rezoning for a property containing 1.01 acres located at 4706 Wilshire Boulevard from Regional Business Conditional District to Commercial Services Conditional District to allow for a four-story mini warehousing development. And Jeff Walton has our staff report. Welcome, Mr. Walton.
Thank you. As just stated, the applicant proposes to rezone to Commercial Services Conditional District for a four-story mini warehousing development. On April 22nd, 2008, City Council rezoned the subject site from residential district to regional business CD for an overflow parking area of an existing automobile dealership that was present there since, or it's been vacant since 2020. Oh. This image shows you kind of the general area where this site is located, at the corner of College and Wilshire, near Harris Teeter, the former Kmart site north of College and Oleander intersection. These are some photos of the subject site itself as a underutilized parking lot. Some of the adjacent photos as far as the former auto dealership across the street, the car wash adjacent, especially the residences on Cedar Avenue, to give you context. The proposal is for a four-story mini warehousing development. The proposed building contains approximately 77,510 square feet and would be 44 feet, 4 inches in height. If approved, this project would be vested under the current Land Development Code, and the current provisions of mini warehousing would apply. On October 21st, 2021, the Board of Adjustment granted variances for the proposed front and side yard setbacks as well as a reduction in the street yard requirements along Wilshire Boulevard. The applicant has not submitted building elevations to staff showing compliance with the prescribed conditions. Compliance would be part of the technical review if this project is approved. The subject site is identified as a suburban commercial retrofit area of opportunity and a special character street. The comprehensive plan supports redevelopment of existing underutilized surface parking lots. The plan supports quality building site and designs and calls for appropriate transitions between more intense commercial areas and the surrounding lower intensity residential areas. The proposed redevelopment includes the removal of an existing parking lot and the construction of a multi-story self-storage building. The proposal locates the building closer to Wilshire, and parking is provided within the building and along the rear of the site. While staff does have concerns with the potential impact of the proposed building height that it may have on the adjacent residential uses on Cedar Avenue, the proposed use will complement the proposed mixed-use development across the street, as well as serve as a transition between the commercial areas and the existing residential uses to the south and east. The proposed rezone is consistent with the Craig-Wilmington Comprehensive Plan. Staff believes the request is reasonable in the public interest, and we recommend conditional approval subject to the conditions contained in the case summary. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I believe the applicant is here as well.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? Commissioner Woodruff?
Jeff, in reading the packet information, this parcel's got quite a history. And I'm curious, it was twice denied for something to go there. Now it's there, it appears on a conditional use. This building is much bigger than anything that was contemplated before, which was denied. Why does the applicant need a zoning change?
I believe the applicant can address that as well, but the applicant wants, the proposal is to have a building lot coverage larger than what's allowed in the RB zone. And I don't know what the zone is for the RB, but for CS, I believe it's 40%, which is much larger than, when I say building lot coverage, that's the building itself in comparison to the rest of the site, not really in terms of impervious surface. So
okay.
This CS zone allows for a larger footprint to be placed on the property instead of the RB.
And does this zoning change also allow more height of the structure?
I think they would have been able to do the height in the RB or the CS. Yeah, I don't think the height is the issue, other than the height when it compares to the residences along Cedar.
All right. And then finally, this statement on October 21 of this year, the Board of Adjustment granted some variances. Is that to, as I understand it, it appears that it's trying to make even more or less with regard to setbacks?
So the applicant can address this as well. My opinion is that they wanted to push the building closer to Wilshire to take advantage of putting parking in the back of the property. And in doing so, they had to get a variance for the front setback as well as for the street yard reduction. The side reduction we're talking about is on the car wash property, which is over here. It's split zoned. So it's CB on a portion of the property and then R10 on another piece of property. So under our current code, this property here would have had to have a residential buffer setback that would cut a corner off of the building in order for it to meet code. And I believe that's the reason they went to Board of Adjustment to have that waiver granted.
And I thought, this is finally, am I right? There's no, the neighbors surrounding this property, nobody has responded or have offered comments for or against this change?
They haven't approached us via phone calls or emails. The applicant did hold a community meeting which showed that I don't believe anybody from Cedar Avenue was present at the meeting. I think it was the applicants and their representatives. But the applicant has attempted to reach out to the neighborhood via the community meeting route.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
All
much.
right, I think that's it for you now, Jeff. Thank you. And the applicant's here.
Good evening. I am Andy Van Trite. I'm an attorney with Merkson, Taylor and Gibson here in Wilmington, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the current property owner, Susan Booth Stevenson, as well as the developers under contract to purchase this property, Bella Vista Development Group LLC and Craig Davis Properties, Inc. Also here with me today are several members of our development team, including Mariana Molina and Craig Davis for the developers, EJ Gwynn and Tammy Spivey of Seppi Engineering, and Robert High with Robert High Development, the contractor for this project. All of them will be available to address any technical questions you have about the site plan and other specifics of the design in a moment, but I want to first briefly summarize the proposed project and the primary reasons we believe our request to rezone the subject site should be granted. Oh, gosh. Thanks. Can you go ahead and go? Oh, there you go. Thanks.
I think if you use the arrow keys, it works better.
The arrow keys? Perfect. Thank you. All right, as Jeff's already described for you and as is more fully set out in our application, my clients are seeking to rezone the currently vacant 1-acre property located at 4706 Wilshire Boulevard from the Regional Business Conditional District to the Commercial Services Conditional District in order to construct a mini warehousing facility to serve the self-storage needs of area residents. This site is currently subject to a conditional zoning district that permits its use only as an overflow parking lot for an automotive dealership that was formerly operated on the 6-acre property across Wilshire Boulevard from the site, but both of these properties have been vacant for over a year since that dealership closed. My clients are also under contract to purchase that former dealership site and have recently received unanimous approval from City Council to rezone that property as necessary to construct a mixed-use development that will add residents to this area and therefore increase the need for self-storage. This area has more than its share of large vacant sites with large surface parking lots, as you can see on the aerial view in front of you. My clients hope that their proposed redevelopment of these two sites will be the first domino to fall, so to speak, leading the way toward redeveloping this entire commercial area. This property sits next to a car wash and is in a transitional location between increasing commercial development on College Road, a major thoroughfare and primary retail corridor, and existing residential uses along Wilshire Boulevard, Cedar Avenue, and McMillan Avenue. It should be reiterated here that unless and until this site is rezoned, it is essentially useless in that it cannot be used as anything other than an overflow parking lot for an automobile dealership. The proposed project is depicted on the site plan shown here and the schematic elevation shown in the next two slides. We recently applied for and received unanimous approval from the Board of Adjustment for 3 variances that enable us to situate the building closer to Wilshire Boulevard and further away from existing residential uses along Cedar Avenue, providing even more of a buffer than is required by the code. This project will be aesthetically pleasing, producing low traffic, and it will otherwise implement the city's strategies for this area, set out in the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan, by supporting the existing and anticipated residential uses in the area, capitalizing on existing facilities and industries, and accomplishing infill development in a surface parking lot to produce a more urban feel. Based on all the foregoing, we respectfully request that you concur with the staff's recommendation and recommend approval of our conditional redistrict rezoning request. As mentioned, members of our development team are now available to address any questions you may have. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Unless you have questions for me, in which case you can ask me now.
Why don't you stick around a minute
Sure.
and see, we'll see if the commissioners have any questions for the applicant. Commissioner Woodruff?
One quick question. Am I right that nobody has offered any opposition or concerns regarding this change?
Yes, sir. No one showed up to the community meeting, and we've not otherwise received any questions, complaints, or otherwise from anybody in the neighborhood.
All right, thank you.
We've already answered mine. I was going to ask about elevations, but you've got them right there. Thank you.
There's another page, but there it's pretty similar, just showing all four sides.
All right, I think, oh, go ahead, Commissioner Sharp.
So it is 4-story, or it is,
Yes, yes, it will be 4 stories.
so there is windows on the first and third from the,
I might bring one of my, either EJ or Robert up to answer questions about that, if you don't mind. They're better at the technical stuff than me.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert High with Robert High Development, and yes, to answer your question, is it windows on the first or third floor?
okay, so the second and fourth floors have no outside windows.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wonder if you could show the elevations on the shared screen for the remote attending. It's not in the packet, and it's not coming through our screen.
Absolutely, I think they're, did you hear that, Mr. Walton? Oh, yeah, if you could put the elevations,
okay,
they
that
can't see.
helps.
There we go.
Thank you for that.
Okay, while you're, thank you, Mr. High. I think we may have some questions. Mr. Bowman's our architect, so you just stay close by. but we'll-
I'm satisfied. I just,
Oh, good.
hearing the discussion, I wanted to be able to see it, so thank you.
Yes,
No
thanks
more
for letting us
questions.
know that didn't come through. I do have a question for the engineering rep. Are y'all, oh, go ahead, you can state your name.
EJ Gwynn with Seppi Engineering and Construction.
Great, welcome, thank you. Have y'all considered looking at some pervious pavement options or any kind of, are you that far along in your stormwater planning?
Yeah, it's going to be an underground stormwater system. It's a tight site, and that's really all we can work with
Right.
with the 1 acre. Right now, our infiltration rates aren't looking good for pervious pavers, so it'll be an underground system most likely.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, we'll let you sit down. Thank you very much, and we will open the public hearing. Is anybody here to speak in favor of this item? Anybody here to speak in favor? Is there anybody here to speak against this item? Anybody here to speak on item number 1? Either way. All right, the public hearing is closed. So, commissioners, questions, thoughts? Comments? All right. If there's no deliberation, is there somebody excited about making a motion? Commissioner Cortez.
I move to approve Agenda Item 1, case number CD 8-921. This is a request to rezone .1 acres located at 4706 Wilshire Boulevard from RB Regional Business Conditional District to Commercial Services Conditional District to allow a 4-story, multi-story mini warehousing development. This approval, this request is consistent with the objectives and policies of the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan. The proposed redevelopment includes the removal of an existing surface parking lot and the construction of a multi-story self-storage building, which may complement the proposed mixed-use development across Wilshire Boulevard. The Planning Commission recommends approval of this request, including all 10 conditions as provided in the staff's case summary.
Thank you. Commissioner Cortez has moved to approve agenda item number 1. Do we have a second? Commissioner Goins?
Second.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Bowman?
Bowman, aye.
Commissioner Cortez?
Aye.
Commissioner Goins?
Aye.
Commissioner Lyle, aye. Commissioner Sharp?
Aye.
And Commissioner Woodruff?
Aye.
Item number 1 is approved 6-0. Thank you very much, and good luck with your project. All right, do we have any other items from the commission? Welcome back, Mr. Lennon. All right, items from the staff.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Attorney.
I'm sure y'all remember from this past summer, actually, I guess technically it was late spring, but we had to make some rule changes to be in compliance with Chapter 160D. And about that time, we warned you, unfortunately, that when the new LDC came through, we would have to do it again. So we're back tonight doing it again. And I want to introduce to you Corey Evans. She's with the City Attorney's Office, and she's briefly going to present this item to you this evening. And just as a reminder, this does not have a public hearing component, and if approved by the Planning Commission, this will move on to City Council at their next meeting in November, their second meeting in November.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Sean stated, my name is Corey Evans. I'm an Associate City Attorney with the City of Wilmington. Thank you for having me and allowing me to present these proposed rules changes for you tonight. As Sean stated, the LDC was adopted earlier this year, and what that did was it eliminated the Subdivision Review Board as the reviewing board for subdivisions in the city and replaced it instead with the Design Adjustment Committee. The Design Adjustment Committee and its counterpart previously appealed to this board, but under the new LDC, the Design Adjustment Committee will appeal to the Board of Adjustment. So that provision was no longer needed in your rules, which appeared as Section 5. So that section was deleted and all the remaining sections were adjusted in their section numbering. There were also some minor wording adjustments and grammatical changes. For example, if you turn to page 4 of the rules, you can see it says right below number 7, adjournment, every person attending and appearing before the Planning Commission shall abide by the rules of order. It previously stated that every person appearing at the rostrum. We thought that giving the Planning Commission a little bit more discretion and those that are attending generally needing to abide by the rules of order was more appropriate. Also for your consideration, on page 5, if you would like to remove this section, right in the middle of the page I have highlighted for you, it says, decisions of the commission shall take the form of a written order prepared by the secretary of the commission and reviewed and approved by the city attorney. After conversation with Mr. Satterfield, we don't believe that this provision is necessary for inclusion in the rules. It can be removed. It's essentially just superfluous since the commission makes recommendations verbally to city council. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we put forth these rules for your consideration and approval.
Yes, Commissioner Lennon.
So if I understood correctly on page 5, whether it's in there or not, we don't submit written orders.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. So that's sort of superfluous, I guess.
That's correct. Mr. Satterfield and I believe that this was included when the commission rendered decisions regarding appeals from the SRB, because at that point you were sitting as an appellate body in a quasi-judicial capacity, I believe, whereas in this circumstance you're a recommending body to City Council, so those written orders are no longer necessary.
Is there any other situation where that would be applicable without the word order there?
I don't believe so, but perhaps Mr. Satterfield or Mr. Evans could contemplate situations.
Mr. Lennon, you don't make decisions in a quasi-judicial manner, and that's where I think the root of that statement is for.
Okay.
So that, I mean, Mr. Evans may correct me or have a different opinion, but I'm not aware of anything.
That's my opinion as well. I think this portion of the rules, it certainly predates me, but it's my opinion that the opinions you guys make on zoning matters, go to the council in the form of an opinion. However, if you were hearing on the rare occasion that you did hear an appeal from SRB as a quasi-judicial board, you would have been required to make written findings of fact and conclusions of law in the form of an order. So it's my opinion that that part of it isn't necessary anymore. But I can't definitively answer for you where the source of that was initially.
Thank you. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if it's relevant for something like that to be put back in, it could be, right?
Yes, sir. Certainly could be.
Thank you.
To that too, Mr. Lennon, statutes would require a written order anyway. So whether it was in your, say, like if you were given the authority to grant special use permits at some point, even if it wasn't added back, the statutes would require that.
Thank you.
What's the, well, we'll let them finish up what they're doing there.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the rules of procedure for Wilmington Planning Commission.
With the deletion of the highlighted,
And the highlighted area, the decisions, my understanding is to be deleted, okay? And so the highlighted area to be deleted.
okay. Commissioner Sharp has moved to approve the rules of procedure. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Lennon has second. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Bowman?
Aye.
Commissioner Cortez?
Aye.
Commissioner Goins?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Lyle? Aye. Commissioner Sharp?
Aye.
Commissioner Woodruff?
Aye.
Right. The rules of procedure have been approved, 7-0. And we have another item from staff. Thank you, Ms. Evans. The meeting and submission deadline schedule was in your packet, and we updated the November date.
Yes, I did send out updated calendar, I believe on Friday, that moved the November 2022 meeting date from a Thursday back to its original Wednesday. I did get a little ahead of myself trying to do Election Day a week early, so I do apologize. So the schedule that you received on Friday is correct with a November 2022 date of November 2nd.
Does anybody have any questions, comments on the meeting?
JC,
Wait, where did that come from?
Ron?
Okay, Mr. Satterfield. Oh, that Ron. Ron Woodruff, yes, Commissioner Woodruff. Can't see with the masks.
It's okay. Just a minor point. The submission date for the October 5, 2022 has already passed. It says 2021. It's just a typo.
Thank you. We will make that change, and you can approve the calendar with the amended submission deadline for October. Thank you.
I would so move that motion to accept with the amendment.
Commissioner Woodruff has moved to approve the meeting and submission deadline schedule with the changes mentioned. Do we have a second? Commissioner Cortez is seconded, and we will do a voice vote on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, thank you so much. Any other items from staff or commissioner?
I'd like to update the commission on City Council's meeting last night. They approved the Land Development Code cleanup items that you previously saw. And they also approved the rezoning on Wellington Avenue from the CS to the O&I.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any other business or a motion to adjourn? Commissioner Lennon?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Lennon has moved to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cortez, voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.